pan de dulce. It's almost like a grilled empanada. No? Delicioso. It's like a Mexican-style savory cheese and sweet crepe. Está buenísimo.
Smoky flavor, a bit.
Nuevo León is a treasure chest of culinary magic, but you need to know where to look. And if there's someone who knows, it is Hugo Guajardo.
The white flour, that's the one that you can eat.
Today, I'm spending the day with Hugo, owner of El Jonuco restaurant, to learn how he's finding traditional ingredients all over Nuevo León and turning them into irresistible dishes. Whoa!
It's strong stuff.
First up is his go-to place for the best carne seca in the state. So this is dried and salted. This has been a way of preserving meat since forever. You ready for the sauce? Then I'm invited to his home to learn how he makes his most popular dish, black chicken. This is like your alchemist lab, norteño dream. Wow, the best chicken wing ever. And finally, I get to experience his critically acclaimed restaurant, where each dish comes from a different town in Nuevo León. Delicioso. In my kitchen, Hugo's chicken inspired my norteño-style roast chicken rubbed in the flavors of Nuevo León. The oregano from Nuevo León, which is so beautiful and lovely and adorable, and served with a super greens green salad bathed with a to die for oregano vinaigrette. Doesn't stop.
I am going to give you a secret.
Yes, I love secrets. It's like nothing I've tasted before. Hugo Guajardo is chef and owner of El Jonuco, a restaurant in his hometown of Apodaca, about a half-hour east of Monterrey. It's known for its fresh takes on traditional local ingredients.
The white flour, that's the one that you can eat.
His research takes him to every corner of Nuevo León, seeking the best sources and new ideas.
Outsiders think that we only consume, like steaks and cabrito, and that's the only thing.
Yeah.
But actually, I think that we have a lot of more things to offer.
Yeah. On my day with Hugo, the first stop is the town of Dr. González, where he gets his carne seca, a local type of dried beef from El Caminante, a restaurant that has been perfecting the process for more than half a century.
Se la asesina y se pone al sol.
¿Con sal?
Es lo único que lleva.
Solo sal.
Así es.
¿Esta tú te la comes así?
Sí, puede ser así.
Sí. Y la que dice usted Yorkie es este tipo. Nada más que esta es con chile.
This has been a way of preserving meat since forever, ¿no?
Claro.
Y ya se quedó como de un ingrediente muy importante de esta zona. How did you find his godfather?
Mi abuelo
Ajá.
me trajo aquí al Caminante, que pues de hecho, desde que yo tengo uso de razón de niño, en mi casa siempre hubo esta carne.
Se ha pasado de generación en generación.
Oye, yo sí quiero. Nos sentamos a desayunar.
Claro.
Just as I'm about to sit down for their famous machacado, eggs with dried beef, I get a surprise from the founder, who I was told was not well enough to join me. Hola. Ay, Pati Hinich, mucho gusto. Edelmiro Salinas learned to make carne seca from his family, who did it as a way of preserving meat before the time of refrigeration.
Debe ser poquita sal y luego con los factores de humedad la terminamos de secar. Y ya estando seca hay que poner un brasero con leña.
Un brasero, sí, como una fogata.
A darle una pasadita en las brasas para machacar.
Pues sí está espectacular. Ya la probé así solita Y ahora la quiero probar en los huevitos. The most popular way to eat carne seca in northern Mexico is in a breakfast dish called machacado, which is carne seca with eggs. Next up, Hugo's home, where he transforms his research into rich and complex dishes. This is like your alchemist lab. You test things and then you go to your restaurant and share with the world.
Yeah.
This is like a norteño dream. Today, he's teaching me how to make his most popular chicken dish. I'm just hoping that the recipe isn't as difficult as the name. Pollo negro asado, pollo negro con
¿Asado?
salsa.
Pollo negro asado. Con salsa estilo Río Ramos.
Pollo negro asado
Ajá.
con salsa. Pollo negro asado. ¿Sí?
Río Ramos.
Pollo negro asado con salsa estilo Río Ramos.
Eso.
Let's just go with black chicken. It all starts with the key to the dish, the sauce.
The secret ingredient in there, they use chicken liver.
I love chicken liver.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love chicken liver
Well,
so
then
much.
I think you will like the sauce
Wait,
too.
so the chicken has a chicken liver sauce?
Yeah, the actual principal ingredient will be the chicken liver. Salt, garlic, black pepper, some cumin that we're gonna toast, fresh oregano, picachos. That
Mira
is,
las flores. Wait, I had never seen the oregano flowers.
Oh yeah,
Estas se comen.
taste it.
You eat the flower.
Yes.
Mmm. Oh my gosh.
Strong.
It tastes like oregano. Very intense. Super rico.
Super.
Then everything is toasted on the open fire. As you can see throughout Nuevo León, this is the North's signature way of cooking. On the fire.
It gets like a kind of bitter flavor that is
Yeah.
actually good with some dishes.
After marinating the chicken overnight in a salty, garlicky, citrusy brine, it's hung over the fire to add some smoky flavor before being finished off on the grill. Then Hugo finishes the sauce with some corn masa for a silky smooth texture. Now for the spices that give the dish its name, black chicken. Wow,
It's strong stuff.
qué magia hay aquí adentro.
Es como cebollas, chiles, ajo y también algo de pimienta gorda. Puedes oler todos los sabores y todo el proceso que traía el pollito, ¿no? Se va a mezclar en este.
This is like the best chicken wing ever. It's like very complex, but like so subtly layered. Está exquisito.
Qué bueno.
What a treat. Salud.
Salud. Gracias por visitarnos.
Gracias a ti. You'll have to visit Hugo to get his crazy delicious chicken, but I'm giving you a recipe that you can make anywhere. My northern-style roasted chicken served on top of a super greens green salad with an oregano vinaigrette. Rotisserie chicken is such a thing in Mexico. We love them. And of course, everybody has their favorite place where they get it. And I've always wondered, what does it take to make the best rotisserie chicken? And it's all about the sazon and the high heat. So I'm gonna give you my take to make an irresistible pollo rostizado that you can make in a snap. For the marinade, I'm going to combine some ingredients that you would think don't go together, but they go together so well. So I have 10 cloves of garlic that I already peeled. I'm throwing in here. So I added 2 teaspoons of the salsa inglesa, 1 tablespoon of the soy sauce, and then I'm adding Dijon mustard, a tablespoon of oregano from Nuevo León, which is so beautiful and adorable. And then I'm adding the cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of the chile piquin. So in they go. I am mixing salt. I'm doing 1.5 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon of black ground pepper, 1 whole serrano chile. I'm gonna help my blender out by just coarsely chopping these. 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lime juice. And then about 1/4 cup of olive oil. And then I'm gonna puree these until completely smooth. I'm gonna put it right in here. Yum. Add my chicken here. You want to separate the skin from the meat. Just use your hands and go between the skin and the meat. See? Like this. And you're just making room for that marinade because you want the marinade to season the chicken under, over, in between, everywhere. And I want to put some of the marinade in the chicken cavity too. Use a tablespoon and then rub it with my hand. So going in the cavity and then just rubbing it all over. I'm adding the marinade in between the meat and the skin. Massage the chicken everywhere. And I'm gonna stuff my chicken with celery, about a quarter of a white onion. I'm gonna grab some parsley, just gonna break it in pieces. I'm gonna cut a piece of twine. Stuff the parsley in here. You wanna put your chicken with the breasts upside up. I'm gonna tuck the wings under the back of the chicken so that the tips of the chicken wings don't burn. And then I'm gonna tie the legs, and I have my oven at 450. Stick it in the oven anywhere from 45 to 55 minutes, and that's it. An extra sprinkle of salt. And then I'm just going to put it in the oven. So as my chicken is roasting, I came up with these super greens, green salad, with oregano vinaigrette to satiate my thirst for green, fresh things. I'm gonna add the oregano and the cumin, but here I'm gonna toast them. So I have a teaspoon of oregano, and I preheated my small skillet over low heat. A quarter teaspoon of cumin seeds. So we just want to start getting the aroma, and we want a slight change in color. So I have that oregano and cumin. It's nice and warm. And I'm just gonna coarsely chop these. Okay, so I'm gonna add the oregano and the cumin right in this bowl. And then I'm gonna chop a garlic clove. I'm gonna also chop 2 tablespoons of capers. Then 1 teaspoon of the Worcester sauce, 2 teaspoons of the soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of salt. Black pepper, I'm gonna add about half a teaspoon. Half a cup of freshly squeezed lime juice, a quarter cup of olive oil, and some piloncillo, about a teaspoon. It is so deliciously charming. 1 shallot. Once it's all mixed, add the shallots, and the vinaigrette is ready. You want your chicken to rest for at least 10 minutes before you carve it. And I'm going to finish assembling the rest of my salad. I'm gonna start with my arugula, and I'm just gonna break it into pieces. I'm gonna tear it just like that. And then I'm going to do watercress, which I love the leaves of watercress. They have a beautiful name in Spanish, berros. And I love that name because it has the double R, and I love using the double R. 2 cups of spinach, and here I have the baby leaves, but I can also tear them into smaller pieces. And the spinach just has a sweeter taste. And I'm gonna do about a cup of the leaves of basil, so delicate and tender. And the mint, because it is a little more intense, I am gonna chop it a little, about a quarter cup. Okay, so we are at the parsley, and I'm gonna get about a cup, and it has such a nice, like, resistant bite to it. top of the cilantro, which is definitely more citrusy than parsley, radishes, but also the radish leaves. Not many people know that you can eat them. I have my chicken that rested. I'm gonna start cutting away at the legs. So you wanna cut along the natural lines of the chicken. It looks so pretty. And it's so satisfying to eat the chicken with so much sazon. And if you make it all for yourself and you have some leftovers, you can make one amazing torta too. Jonuco means the room under the stairs, a place where forgotten treasures wait to be found. Much like the name, Hugo finds ingredients around Nuevo León that have always been there but are waiting to be discovered. With his sister and business partner Katia, they show me some of the treasures they have found. First up, a frosty light beer with a rim of chile ancho salt and garnished with El Caminante's carne seca.
Pues es muy común usar la carne seca como botana, ¿no? Como para empezar. Y pues qué mejor con este clima como caluroso, pues con una cerveza helada.
Se antoja cerveza muchísimo.
Y la carne, ¿no?
¿Y este qué es? Platícame.
Ahora también, por eso trajimos esto, que pues también es algo como tradicional, pero que en la ciudad no se conoce tanto, que son las maguacatas.
Platícame de las maguacatas porque yo nunca las había visto.
Viene de los árboles, los ébanos, ¿sí? Es el fruto de los ébanos, esta vaina. Se come solamente el fruto y era muy popular como en cantinas así en algunos municipios como Cadereyta, por ejemplo.
¡Qué rico! Está riquísimo. Es como una combinación entre cacahuate y edamame.
Yo creo que uno de los principales retos que hemos tenido es que la gente abra un poco su panorama a querer degustar este tipo de platillos que son diferentes, puesto que no tienen el conocimiento de que existen, ¿no?
Tienen una responsabilidad muy grande, ¿no?
Sí, claro.
¿Sientes la responsabilidad?
Sí, yo creo que a través de los platillos hablamos por todos los proveedores, por todos los productos que son locales, o sea, no es nada más el presentar un platillo, ¿no? Sino todo lo que hay detrás.
Next, a wedding rice from the nearby town of General Suazua, made with raisins and a salty sweet sauce, then topped with quail egg and fried pork belly. Ese es
Guacamole norteño con cabuches.
¡Qué rico! The guacamole is covered with the fried flower buds of the red biznaga cactus that grows in the desert town of Arramberry. Sabe un poquito al corazón de alcachofa.
Sí. Sí, yo también lo relaciono como con
¿Y
este
te lo
tipo de
comes con
sabor.
este? ¡Qué delicia! Delicioso. Super bold porque sientes el sabor del aguacate sin mucha máscara, ¿no? Oye, ¿y por qué te parece tan importante tener este rol de preservar la tradición?
Pues yo creo que es algo que en cuestión a gastronomía que apenas va empezando. Creo que pues ya está empezando a haber este movimiento donde pues, empezamos a proponer un poco más, a mostrar ese lado que la gente no conocía de Nuevo León.
Claro.
Entonces creo que traemos ahí un rol importante en seguir trabajando sobre la misma idea.
But in all of Hugo's searching around the state, the treasure that is closest to his heart is the one that he found right at home.
Este es el pie de pera.
Okay.
Es una receta de mi abuela.
Abuela's pear cake with cream cheese, pecans, topped with homemade vanilla ice cream, and a touch of dehydrated chamomile.
Un tío tiene perales en Santiago, en unos municipios de aquí de Nuevo León. Y toda la cosecha pues iba para ella y regalaba pasteles a todo el mundo en invierno, ¿no?
¡Ay, qué rico!
Entonces pues era de que nosotros siempre esperábamos esa fecha para degustar el pie y pues bueno, pues ya le tuvimos que pedir permiso a...
Lo coman conmigo,
todos los
coman
helados.
conmigo. Calientito. Delicioso. Now I want to share with you a dessert that maybe you can pass down too. I'm going to show you how to make hojarasca, which is a Mexican cookie that's just super delicious, and it has a base of piloncillo syrup and canela, cinnamon. So I'm gonna start by making the piloncillo syrup. I'm gonna use 1 cup of water, about 7 ounces of piloncillo. So I'm adding it right in here. And then I'm gonna flavor it with canela. And I'm adding the cinnamon in here. And then I'm just raising the heat to medium-low. So I'm gonna use 2 kinds of flour, 1.5 cups of masa harina. And I can also see here that the piloncillo is starting to dilute into the water. Let me give it a stir. Now I'm going to just keep the lid off and continue simmering this down over medium heat for about 10 minutes. I want it to thicken. And now we can back to adding 2 cups of the all-purpose flour. I love combining both because you get the polvorón, the kind of sweet, dusty kind of a crumble, but then you get the earthy, nutty taste of the masa harina. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I'm just combining the 2 in here. Oh, and it feels so nice. So I have my syrup that's simmering here and getting thicker, but you don't want it to simmer so much that it starts boiling. In some places, or some bakers use only butter, some use only vegetable shortening. I like to combine the 2 because then you get the benefit of both. You get the flavor from the butter, and then you get the resiliency of the vegetable shortening. 1/2 cup of butter, 1/2 cup of vegetable shortening. And now I'm gonna beat over medium speed until it gets all creamy and almost fluffy. I'm gonna add 1 egg and continue beating a little. I'm gonna alternate adding my dry ingredients and 1/4 cup of milk. And the last thing I'm gonna add is my piloncillo syrup, and I'm gonna strain it here into this cup. And take it out of here. And once you can gather it onto a ball, I'm gonna wrap it in plastic wrap, put it in the fridge, and this goes in there anywhere from 30 minutes to 24 hours. Okay, before I roll out my hojarasca dough, I'm gonna combine my sugar and cinnamon. Then I'm gonna cut my dough into 4 pieces. And I'm gonna dust my countertop with flour. And this is a dough that it appears to crack very easily, but you just continue rolling it. Once you get to like 1/3 of an inch, you're set. And then just make whatever shape you like. Now, I'm gonna completely coat the cookie. Keep the sugar on there. When the cookies bake, the cinnamon sugar will stick to the cookie, so don't shake it off. I have my oven at 350, and I'm gonna bake these for about 20 minutes. Sprinkle cinnamon sugar before and after baking. You can never add too much cinnamon sugar to these. And the combination between the cinnamon sugar and that masa harina in the cookie dough is so rewarding. It's nutty, it's earthy, it's like so pleasantly sweet. Not too sweet, so go ahead and add more cinnamon sugar too. Everywhere I go in Monterrey, I have to stop and pinch myself.
Wow. So stunning.
It's just a beautiful place.
Today, I'm exploring this enchanting landscape with world-class climbers who are putting Monterrey's outdoor scene on the international map.
They see this as one of the best multi-pitch sport climbing destination in the world.
This looks so scary to me.
But afterwards, we'll need to refuel at their favorite elote stand, the perfect post-climbing snack.
Yo quiero un vaso grande.
In these same majestic mountains, I'm having dinner with 4 top chefs from Monterrey
Oh, baby.
to share in one of the most time-honored traditions of the North,
Beautiful.
the carne asada.
I make the best arroz de bola in the country.
What do you
lady.
think?
He's very competitive, but we love him anyway.
Yeah.
In the kitchen, we'll have our own celebration. I blend the distinctive flavors of Nuevo León ingredients, like oranges, cumin, and roasted tomatoes, with classic Mexican chorizo to make a true norteño wedding rice,
Chorizo fried in bacon, yum.
alongside a crazy good ginger, honey, and pistachio guacamole.
Doesn't stop.
I am going to give you a secret.
Yes, I love secrets. It's like nothing I've tasted before.
I can't visit Nuevo León without seeing why thousands come here every year for a taste of adventure. In recent years, Monterrey's surrounding peaks have attracted the likes of world-famous climbers, and it's not hard to see why. The limestone cliffs, river-carved canyons, and ancient bluffs offer breathtaking views. Just on the edge of Monterrey, in La Huasteca Ecological Park, is where I'm starting my day, guided by Diego's team, made up of some of the country's best climbers.
Hola. I'm Shazir. Shazir, Pati, mucho gusto. Hola.
Mucho gusto.
¿Qué tal? Diego, ¿verdad?
Héctor.
Héctor, ¿qué tal? So nice to meet you. I'm so thrilled you're meeting me here.
Definitely, when pandemic started, people started realizing that it's not only business, industry, fabrics in Monterrey, but there's also so many different adventure activities like road biking, mountain biking, rock climbing, ferrata. I'm gonna show you one of the best spots in La Huasteca. It's called Guitarritas.
Guitarritas, like little guitars.
Yep.
Yeah.
According to the Huichol people, Guitarritas is the belly button of the universe. Each year, the indigenous group from South Central Mexico treks over 400 kilometers to Guitarritas to dance, smoke peyote, and do rituals to give thanks to Mother Earth.
O sea, un lugar cósmico para ellos, en donde tienen diferentes como maneras de agradecer a la Madre Tierra por todo lo que les ha dado, ¿no?
Can people join the Huicholes?
Es un grupo cerrado totalmente para ellos.
Yeah.
No permiten a gente
They
externa.
don't want to make it touristy. It's
No.
like special.
This ancient gem is growing in popularity around the world.
A lot of rock climbers, really famous, have been here. They see this as one of the best multi-pitch sport climbing destination in the world.
But for someone who didn't grow up around here,
Oops, it's slippery. You guys are amazing. Wow. Híjole, la luz ahí se ve impresionante.
It's just so crazy, like just to see in a movie, like really famous. This is like 30-minute drive from my house.
Yeah. It looks so exhilarating. I will not do that. But it made me really hungry just watching you do that. So I will go eat elotes with you.
and according to Diego, this is the spot for elote, a popular Mexican treat made with corn slathered in a mayo cream sauce, chili powder, and an array of other toppings.
Nos vamos a lo tradicional, a lo que es de siempre, es mayonesa y chile y queso rallado.
Pero yo quiero...
Como ahorita con todo.
Sí. So that's like nacho cheese.
Yes.
It's like melted queso cheese. That's like, eso es muy como northern Mexico state.
Aquí te vienen los tipos de chile, pica, no pica.
Ajá.
Chile extra picosa, sal de mantequilla.
Ah, doing the condiments in the bottom and on the top. So there's no way you don't have it everywhere. A mí me gusta con mucho limón. Pues le voy a echar ajonjolí, porque eso no lo he probado. Rico. Gracias.
¿Te gustó?
Está lo más cremoso, like the creamiest, and it's like the messiest, and es como yellow cheese, white cheese, the cream, los diferentes quesos, la salsita de chile con chiles secos, la fresita está exquisito. Y el ajonjolí.
Sí, sabe mucho, ¿no? Tiene un toque especial.
Speaking of magic, as the sun sets over the Sierra Madre Mountains, the Huasteca transforms into an enchanting setting for Nuevo León's top pastime.
You have to char a little bit.
Today, 4 of Nuevo León's top chefs have invited me to a carne asada at a mountainside quinta.
The best of the world.
And they're each preparing a dish especially for me.
And I get to cook nothing? It's amazing.
But it's not a competition, guys.
I make the best arroz de boda in the country.
What do you
lady.
think? You know?
He's very competitive, but we love him anyway.
Yeah.
Let me remind you, sir, that I was your judge. A certain television competition. Don't put any attention to this man. He's my pupil.
Or maybe it is. But they all share a common goal, bringing the often overlooked norteño cuisine into the spotlight. First is Edna Alanis, a chef, culinary instructor, and TikTok influencer, bringing us her cortadillo de rancho.
A las primeras gentes que vinieron a esta parte del país, pues definitivamente venían con el tema de huyendo, los judíos cristianizados, la Inquisición, todo esto.
Edna's own family is descended from this wave of 16th century Sephardic Jews, and many of her dishes celebrate the Jewish influence on norteño cuisine.
Orégano de Higueras, Nuevo León.
Ah, wow.
It's the best of the world.
How would you
Yes,
describe the taste?
Mountains.
Like
mountains.
from the mountain.
Yes.
Mira. Whoa. That's powerful. Edna,
Okay.
that's gonna taste so good. I love powerful food. I know you wanna eat this
I'm sorry.
too. Yeah.
Todos
Ya
vamos
me
a comer.
está saliendo
A ver.
delicioso. It's perfect.
But it feels like we're being watched.
We're making an episode. He's making an episode.
Don't let him fool you. Chef Adrian Herrera would rather be in front of the camera.
Beautiful. Oh, look at this piece of meat here.
Herrera is a chef, writer, photographer, and judge on MasterChef Latino. And today he has a pork loin marinated in soy sauce with a roasted tomato salsa made with brine chile piquin without the stems.
You have to remove it.
Because?
It's that luck. If you cook with them, your wife will not get pregnant. Or she will get pregnant, but not from you. So,
Okay.
so that's why we remove the stems from the chile piquin.
Oh, this looks so beautiful. This is like a painting.
Oh, I should get a prize for this picture. Come on.
He brags, but it's worth it.
I always do.
And it is a special rice.
But can Herrera keep up with MasterChef contestant Carlos Leal?
I am going to give you a secret.
Yes, I love secrets.
He's making me a wedding rice with norteño garnishes.
This hoja santa truly has the shape of a heart.
Yes.
Featuring the star of many northern carne asadas.
Start with a C and ends with an O.
Cabrito.
Hear that sound.
Oh.
And a little bit of cabrito stock.
Yeah.
You will always have in your carne asada a beer.
Okay.
So you need to give a little bit. Guys, come here and take a look. La riñonada.
Oh. Which is the part of the cabrito that people fight for.
Yes, it is the best part.
The meat is just falling apart.
Yeah.
Oof. Ready?
You can take that. Yes, I'm ready. Okay. And that's an arroz de boda. That's it.
O sea, Carlos, this is so delicious.
Ah, it's a
It's
pleasure.
so.
But to round out the meal, every carne asada needs appetizers.
So what I'm doing today is empalme. This is such a comfort food. This is like a staple. This is botana. We have panela cheese, and we're just gonna go like really generous. Vinegar and salt.
And the little...
piquín. Y este queso lo servimos con las gorditas después. And then that's it.
Through her products and restaurants, Chef Andrea Martinez makes it her mission to popularize Nuevo León's rich flavors throughout all of Mexico.
We have like such strong flavors, very high acidity. Yucatan, Oaxaca, Puebla. They get all this credit for our, Mexican cuisine. This is our time, and we're excited to share what we do.
These chefs inspire me to play with Nuevo León's ingredients in ways I'd never imagined. Let's head to my kitchen to create our own norteño-style wedding rice. I had so much fun with the chefs in Nuevo León. They really inspired me to play and have fun in the kitchen. So I'm giving you my take on Mexican wedding rice and a really surprising combination of ingredients inside of a guacamole. We're pumping up the flavor because that tomato sauce that the rice is gonna cook in, we're gonna power it up by charring or roasting the ingredients. So I have a pound of ripe Roma tomatoes, and then I have 2 garlic cloves, and then I'm just cutting a quarter of an onion, and I am removing the peel, and I'm gonna put them under the broiler for about 7 to 8 minutes. I love making these Mexican wedding rice in a wok-style pan because we're going to start cooking a lot of things in here. First off, I have a half a cup of raisins, and we're gonna soak them in a half a cup of freshly squeezed orange juice. And I love the smell already. So as these soak, these needs like 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to start my other ingredients. You can go directly from roasting in the pan to the blender with most ingredients. You can see how oops! You can see how juicy the tomatoes are. This is what charring or roasting does to ingredients. It just pushes them to the extreme. The flavors will become much more intense. So I'm adding the tomatoes in here with the skin, the core, the seeds, everything. We want the flavor of everything in here. I want all of these juices in here. And I want to peel the garlic cloves. So as soon as you can handle the garlic cloves and they've cooled a little, just remove the charred roasted skin and you get this super softened garlic cloves. It's a wedding rice, so there's a lot going on in it, but we're just gonna throw it all in there. It comes together so fast. Just make sure I have all of the sauce here ready to go. Once you get your pan going, you're gonna start throwing things in there, so you have to have all your things ready. And I have these set over medium to medium-high heat. So first of all, I'm gonna cut the bacon into just bite-sized pieces. I have about 6 ounces. Note that I'm not adding any oil into the pan. As the bacon cooks, I want to separate the pieces so they all get the opportunity to brown and render their fat. And as the bacon cooks, I'm going to cut my chorizo. To eat the Mexican-style chorizo, typically you remove the casing. Mexican chorizo is raw. You have to cook it. And you can see I'm starting to get the rendered fat in the bottom of the pan. And I'm gonna scrape the brown bits of bacon into this bowl. Use a slotted spoon so you can leave the fat out. And now we're gonna cook the chorizo in that bacon fat. Chorizo fried in bacon, yum. The chorizo tends to clump together as it starts browning. We're gonna help it break apart and flake and crisp and crumble. And now I'm using the slotted spoon. Take the chorizo and see, leave the fat right here. I'm gonna reduce the heat to medium. And now I'm gonna do 2 cups of long grain rice. We want the rice to toast and start to transform in the fat. So we want every grain of rice in here to be coated in that fat. This is a Mexican technique where we do this to the rice so that when you add the cooking broth, the rice grains separate beautifully and become kind of independent, but within the community of rice. And then I'm gonna add a teaspoon of cumin seeds straight from Nuevo León. You don't like to bite into the big cumin seeds, but I don't want it ground. So adding the cumin seeds right in here, and this needs to cook for just a few seconds. And now I'm gonna add my roasted tomato, onion, and garlic puree. It's gonna be super fast because now what's happening is the grains of rice are independently soaking up all that tomato puree. So these should be almost dry. Now, the ratio for rice to liquid is 2 times liquid to rice. Tomato puree, then I have 2.5 cups of chicken broth, and I also have the 1/2 cup of the orange juice. So all in all, I have over 4 cups liquid. See, the tomato puree is getting a little pasty on the sides. So adding the chicken broth. I'm going to add my raisins that soaked in the orange juice plus the orange juice. I have a cup of diced carrots. So I'm adding a cup of fresh peas, but you can use thawed from frozen. So now I'm adding a cup of fresh corn kernels, but again, you can use thawed from frozen. I'm also adding peeled slivered almonds. You can buy them like these at the store. I love the combination of raisins with almonds. I'm adding a teaspoon of salt, and I'm adding about 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground pepper. I'm gonna give it a good stir. You wanna wait until this is really, really bubbling. You do not wanna put the lid before you see the bubbles or your rice won't cook as pretty. Now I'm gonna reduce the heat to the lowest possible heat. And this is gonna cook for about 15 minutes. You know the rice is ready when the liquid has been completely absorbed. And at the end, I'm gonna add the bacon and the chorizo and mix it all up. But now I'm gonna clean up and make the craziest guacamole. This is really a guacamole like nothing you've eaten before. So I'm peeling my ginger, and I wanna get a generous tablespoon, but I wanna really finely chop it. And I'm gonna continue mashing it in here in the molcajete, and then I'm adding a very generous tablespoon of honey too. Doing lime, I'm gonna squeeze right into the molcajete. 2 very generous tablespoons of lime juice. And then I have the piquin chiles that I am so in love with from Nuevo León. So I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons. I love that crunch because then you can get the charming little pieces. And then I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt. So now I'm gonna mash away, and I wanna just make it all come together. Now that it's all mixed, I'm gonna cut my avocados. To make it easier to mash, I like to cut the avocado right in the skin. Just make like little squares, go all the way to the bottom. So dice, and then with a fork and mash before it goes into the molcajete. You're just making your job really easy by the time you get to mash these. So now we're gonna mash it all together. And the last thing I need is to add my pistachios. And now that I'm chopping, I'm gonna chop some chives too. I'm gonna chop a little more of the piquin chiles because I'm gonna add some at the top too. So I'm adding pistaches here to mix them with the guac. Okay, so it's all mixed now. And now I'm gonna just garnish. So I know you may be a little skeptical, but I really want you to try these. I mean, it's so ridiculous because
It has the super creamy, smooth avocado. It has the citrusy punch of the Pekin chiles, and then you get that peppery bite of the ginger and the crunch of the pistachios, a little bit of that lime juice, and the honey just makes everything shine. We have the guacamole and the rice that is ready. You know that the rice is ready when the liquid has been completely absorbed, and you can see how the vegetables floated to the top. So you can see the peas, the carrots, the corn, it's all gonna be so deliciously crunchy. And I see the almonds on the side. And then if you go to the bottom, all of the liquid was absorbed. So now I'm going to add my chorizo and bacon. If you wanted to make it without the meat, because you wanted to make it vegetarian, you can. And because it has the cumin and the rich roasted tomato sauce, it's hearty and filling and delicious too. So now I'm mixing so that all of the rice has some of the bacon and the chorizo and the raisins, and it's kind of a crazy paella of sorts. Because it is a wedding rice, I'm using my wedding plates. So these are the plates that my husband and I got when we got married. All of his aunts got together to give us this set. And we've lugged it from Mexico to Dallas, now to Washington. And I was gonna garnish it with a little bit of chives, but honestly, I just wanna eat it. Everything's crunching. The almonds crunch, the peas, the carrots, the corn. I feel like a lot of people have tried the traditional Mexican red rice or arroz rojo. And this is like taking that kind of rice with that tomato with flavor, but making it full for a celebration. It's really a feast. It's truly extraordinary to see these 4 chefs come together at one table to represent the full range of Nuevo León gastronomy. The women were ready, our food is finished, we're sitting at the table. The guys are like, oh, their food isn't ready, the tortillas aren't warm.
These guys.
But underneath their deeply competitive nature, these chefs have another side.
You all know each other, you've all...
No. We are friends. We're all here friends.
Yeah.
In this place, in Monterey, basically all the cooks, we're all friends. I'm not kidding. We all know each other.
Something very different here in Monterrey.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody supports each other.
Yes, we're supporting because we are very, very small parts in a desert. So we need to stick together in order to become something and to transmit what we really believe. Cocina Norestense is something that really touches in our hearts, and we want to share it with the whole world.
Sí, qué gusto.
We have a common goal. We're all rooting for each other.
Okay, let's eat everything.
Ok, el arroz de boda tapado.
Sí.
Destápelo. Vamos a destaparlo.
Beso. Wow.
Mira, primero le ponemos esta salsita aquí.
Okay.
Le vamos a poner esto aquí así. Esto es tuyo, ¿sí?
Bueno, buen provecho. Y como dice...
Ahí va.
I've been to a lot of carne asadas. But with these friends, these mountains, and this crazy uncle,
I have magic in myself, lady.
this is one that I won't soon forget.
We really want to welcome you to Monterey, Northeast Mexico. This is your house.
No, pero muchas gracias.
Welcome to my kitchen. Today, we're gonna make tortellini alla pata, a wonderful recipe made with just a few ingredients. Pasta alle vongole all'essenziale, my father's special recipe, the best pasta with clams. Chicken scallopini, so easy, so good. And of course, let's not forget about dessert, my amazing apple tart. And learn how I traded my favorite spoon for this one. Come for the recipes, stay for the stories. My favorite utensil in the kitchen is a large stainless steel spoon. Why? I love the spoon because it becomes an extension of my own hand. And the way in which I touch and I turn the ingredients into the pan is as if my own fingers at the very moment are making connection with what is cooking. What I want to share with you is a sauce which is so simple, it's almost ridiculous. And from now on, even when you go to your favorite supermarket and you pick up your favorite brand of tortellini, ravioli, tortelloni, filled with whatever you want, you will find this to be your true go-to sauce. Why? The sauce is full, it's rich, but it only has two ingredients: cream and Parmesan cheese. You don't believe me? Let me show you how to make it. The sauce, really, it's all about the cream. What we're going to do right now, we're going to cook the cream and eliminate most of the water that is in the cream so that it gets this wonderful thickening to it. And then to the cream, we're going to be adding the pasta. As the cream is cooking, one of the things that I like to do, I like to stir it around. Why? I notice when there's too much heat and the cream could burn. And yes, by the way, the cream could burn. If that should happen to you, one of the things that you can do to bring the cream back into its whole former state is to add a couple of spoons of the pasta water. The pasta water is full of starch and for whatever reason that I don't understand, seems to be bringing the cream sauce back together. But it will only do it for you 3 times. After the 3rd time, there's no way you're bringing it back. And I want for the cream to be this slight, comfortable flow on the outside that will thicken up later on with a little bit of Parmesan. Now look at this. The cream already is starting to reduce inside. You see the water evaporating through the steam. It's becoming thicker and thicker. When it gets to this point, don't get too cocky. What I want you to do is to lower this to medium low. And now it's time for us to add a tortellini. The next thing that you want to do is gently stir them about. What we want to do at this point is to reduce the cream even more. There is some water still retained by the tortellini. Why? If you notice, this tortellini, the way they are, they're shaped almost as a hat. In all the crevices around here, some of the water in which they cook was trapped. It's now being released into the cream. What we want to do is to cook the water away, and then will be for us almost a very symbolic way of reducing the cream, making sure that the cream covers the tortellini completely, and it gives us the wonderful coating that we're looking for, which we're going to spice up with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. When you shop for Parmesan cheese, there's only one Parmesan cheese, and that is Parmigiano Reggiano. You can buy other Parmesan cheeses that have the name Parmesan. It's made in the style of Parmigiano Reggiano, but it's not Parmigiano Reggiano. It is at this point, as the cream starts to reduce, and you can see it from the bowl around, you can see how it starts to coat everything, that I like to add the cheese. I want for this cheese and the cream to melt together. Parmigiano Reggiano, grated or shredded will do, but ultimately what it will do, it will melt right into the cream. And at this point, gently reduce the heat a little bit. Look at this, you see? This is the coating that you're looking for. This is the cream becoming a sauce, already imbued with all these flavors in it. Now, as it is perfect. You don't need to add anything. But just because I'm a huge fan of pepper, I like to add pepper. So here I go, a little bit of pepper that I cracked earlier on. Oh, mamma mia. The aroma, the perfect quality of pepper is wonderful. There you are. Signori e signori, la pasta è pronta, which by the way means the pasta is ready. Let me show you how to play. These are not tortellini. Tortellini means little tortelli. These are tortelloni. They're slightly bigger than tortellini, but I call them tortellini. Why? Because they remind me of my youth. And they should be little like this, always, every day. How can it be that a man at my age is so enamored with pasta, specifically tortelloni, tortellini, ravioli, gnocchi? It's a good thing to be Italian. Oh, yes, it is. That spoon, to me, is more than just a utensil. It is almost an embodiment of my thoughts, the ways in which I look at things, and it gives me a connection between the ingredients, the moment of cooking. And people say, but why? Why you have such beautiful non-stick pans? And I adore my non-stick pan, but that spoon and I, we're married. pasta alle vongole all'essenziale. Don't try that without proper training. All'essenziale means in the essential way. It was my father's vision to try to figure a way to cook shellfish, actually, for the matter, all sorts of fish, with a very basic essential flavoring that runs into it. In this particular case, what makes this pasta interesting is that instead of my usual style of sauteing the garlic, the red pepper flakes, we actually imbue the olive oil with the flavor of the garlic and the spiciness of the red pepper flakes, so that once we make the sauce, all that you have is the clams, the juices, and a little bit of additional liquid. This pasta is so simple that it is astonishingly great. Enough said. How about I show you how to make it? It is in this olive oil where we will cook the clams. So the flavor that comes out, the personality of this dish, the secret of this essential taste is in the olive oil. And of course, fresh clams. When you add the clams to the hot oil, keep in mind that it would be best that you drain the clams real well. As a matter of fact, one extra step that I do when I make it at home for myself is to kind of put them into a towel and just let them dry out. Because if you have too much water and the cold water hits the hot olive oil, it will be almost like a splattering explosion going everywhere. Is it going to ruin the flavor? No. But it makes it a lot safer and a lot easier to handle the clams this way. Notice that I placed no salt and no pepper. Those clams are full of salt from the sea. The pepper, that flavoring is given to it from what we add in the olive oil with the red pepper flakes. It is at this point that I like to add parsley, and you can use chicken stock or the water in which the pasta has cooked. I'm gonna bring this to a boil and we're gonna cook it until the clams are completely open. And why is this important? Inside the clams, trapped between the shell, there's an enormous amount of juice. This juice is at the essential part of the sauce. Now, this juice is basically on its own already full of salt, the salt of the ocean. As it meets with the olive oil and the infusion that we have with the garlic and the red pepper flakes, the sauce is opening up. As it cooks at the same time and reduces, most of the water evaporates, and what is left is the essential flavor. Now, you want to wait until all the clams have opened up. Those that have not opened up, those are the ones that you want to get rid of. You'll notice that some of them open faster than others, but wait until all of them have opened up. Give them a few moments, and if they don't open, it means that those clams actually are dead. They need to be getting rid of. If the clam does not open, it is not good to eat. As you can see, there's some late bloomers that always come in. I'm keeping an eye on these guys to see if they're resisting us, or, oh, look at this guy, he's ready to come to the party. This fella, most antisocial. So, you guys don't get to play with us. The next thing we're going to do, we are going to add our pasta. And we're gonna let the pasta finish cooking inside the sauce, the juices that's left over from the clams. I've undercooked the pasta. Just like I've done with many other pasta recipe, I cooked it beyond al dente. It still needs 2 or 3 minutes. The reason why I've done that is because I want the pasta to pick up this flavor. I want this juice that you see right in here, not just to be on top of the pasta. I want this juice to be into every bite that you take. And then at that point you have, I don't know how to tell you this, it's this element, this joy of it makes you feel great inside, where the flavor of the pasta and the clam has become one. And it's in this essential rendition of pasta alle vongole that I find this enormous happiness. First, because I'm in love with clams. Second, because by following this very simple technique, I'm able to bring out the very best of me. I believe that every dish that you make ultimately has an aspect of who you are, what you believe in, how you feel about the world, how you feel about life. And pasta with clams, I would say, is the flag of my passion, if I can say so. Plus, it reminds me of Sicily, specifically my dad. The pasta is absolutely perfect. I turn off the heat, let's plate it. There's something to be said about clams all'essenziale, vongole all'essenziale. Not only is a trip back into my past, but it's also the understanding on how basic flavors come together through very simple techniques. And what you bring out here is the essential of everything. I love this clams and the juice that pours down. This came right from the clams. There was nothing added except just a little bit of love. This is pasta with clams in its best possible fashion and way. However, recently it's been brought to attention from my wife that if I use the spoon again, it might be cause for divorce. So, as a gift to me, she actually gave me a wonderful spoon that is made out of silicone that almost looks like my metal spoon. It works almost like it, but it doesn't ruin the pans. The making of the scallopini involves some very heavy-duty and dangerous pieces of equipment, a sharp knife and a pounder. Now, let me show you how we make chicken scallopini. The first thing that we want to do is trim the chicken breast nicely. As you can see, most of the fat I've taken off. Then, using the knife, you want to cut the chicken breast at a slant like this, because this way it will spread even wider when we make scallopini out of it. Make them as thick as you want, and depending on how big you want your final scallopini to be. And the reason why I like to give it a wider slant is because this way when we pound them, they will expand even more. A lot of people say, well, you could just use the pounder and pound right at it. I find that when the pounder meets the flesh of the chicken directly, one of the biggest problems that we have is that it tears it apart. Biggest mistake that people make more often than not is to use this part of the pounder. Always use the flat side, and with a certain gentleness, move on to it and give it the shape that you want. So what I like to do is with a flat side, a little bit like this, and you can see how it does expand. We have pounded all the scallopini to perfection. Now I want to put them into this plate, and I want to show you a very simple technique on how to flavor them and how to actually run them through the flour. The part of the flour is very important. First, I like to get them off the cutting board just like this. Before we even put the flour, what I like to do is to salt